middle of the warm-up. Today's run is the final run. Day 30. See how it goes. I don't know.
Hey everyone, welcome to Quarantine Blog episode 5. I have Ricky here again. He is with me. We're going to recap some of his training because we just finished our intro to running program yesterday. But let's update you guys on quarantine. It's only been a week since we last talked. And I haven't really updated you guys on my training because we've been really focused on Ricky for a lot of this, or at least the last several weeks. But I was initially training for the mile and I was having a good time, but then all of a sudden I wasn't, and it wasn't really as enjoyable as I wanted it to be. I felt like my body wasn't really responding to the speed, and I was kind of having more fun focusing on Ricky and what he was doing. So I pulled back on speed, lowered my mileage a little bit. I've been doing all of Ricky's runs with him and just kind of running my own miles easy, not worrying about pace. And I'm hoping in about 4 weeks to start building up my mileage again, probably do a fall high mileage building block starting in August. But for now, I'm just kind of running easy and really just enjoying spending this time with Ricky while he's becoming a runner. So it's been really enjoyable. Aside from that, yesterday was 4th of July, which was uneventful. First 4th of July that was very uneventful for us. Here in Long Beach, it usually gets really, really crowded at the beaches, and they close our beaches from Friday through Sunday to prevent and mitigate crowds. And that's usually what we do for 4th of July, is go to the beach or we go to a pool, and that wasn't really an option for us this year. But we celebrated Ricky finishing the program, so like normal race celebrations, we got some treats. We got him the dinner that he wanted, and we Netflixed all day. And how was your 4th of July /
Celebration?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, for not being at a pool or having a cocktail in our hands, I feel like it was nice and relaxing, and we actually had all the food we would normally have on a holiday anyway. So overall, it was good.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this final run. But first, let's talk about the week leading into the run, because Ricky had quite a few accomplishments this week. So Monday, the run was a 15-minute run, 1-minute walk, repeated twice. So a 32-minute total workout. And Ricky got his fastest mile, and he ran his first complete 5K. So 32 minutes. So that was really cool. What was your fastest mile?
I think it was a 9:34.
Yeah. So he accomplished both of those, which I think is really cool. And I think that helped us kind of figure out, pacing wise, really kind of solidify what we wanted to do for this 30-minute run. And also, I think got you excited to do more.
Well, I felt good. I remember feeling good after that run because I feel like I did better than I thought I would. Wednesday's run was a lot harder and had me a little shook for Saturday. So, because it was the same workout, but I just didn't feel as strong as I did on Monday, and I didn't run as far and I didn't run as fast. So Wednesday just had me a little nervous for yesterday's run.
It's always interesting how some runs can be great and some can kind of suck. So you just kind of got to roll with it. But so overall, how did the 30-minute run go?
Overall, it went great. I finished 30 minutes of continuous running like the book said I would, and I felt good after. So yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things we're going to talk about some of his data, but the first thing I want to talk about is pacing, because we talked about doing like a 10:20 to 10:30 pace. Started out kind of fast, but we also talked about you saving some for a finishing kick. So talk to us a little bit about your pacing.
Well, the goal was to run an average pace of 10:20 to 10:30, and I finished with an average pace of 10:34. So in terms of averages, it was pretty close. It was pretty good. But the reality, how that kind of worked out, was I started way too fast. I think part of that was the excitement of the Insta Live, seeing you talk to everybody. You were on a Segway in front of me. It just kind of took me out of like the running and had me really excited. So I was running a low 9 pace from the start, and realized about 2 minutes in that I was running way too fast. So I slowed it down. And then when I looked back and checked my pace, I was running way too slow. I was running about an 11-minute pace. And so it took me a while to kind of calibrate and figure out where I needed to be. And so I kind of settled in at around 10:40, I think. And then, like we planned for the last 2 minutes, I picked it up and I ended up running low nines for that last 2 minutes and finished with a 10:34. So it was pretty good.
So we really talked about how having that finishing kick was important and kind of, I mean, I definitely wanted to simulate a race as much as possible, but this was more about endurance and making sure that you could complete it. So we talked about him at 2 minutes going, faster and picking up the pace. And it was cool because on the Instagram Live, all these people were on there and I was reading their comments and they were all excited for him. So I think that helped a lot. So even though it wasn't a race environment, I think we tried to simulate that as much as possible.
It definitely was a huge distraction, but not distraction about it. It was like a good motivator to not think about like my heart rate or how hard I was working, but more just like, let's finish strong. People are watching.
Yeah. Yes. And so I think, normally towards the end of a run when you're running fast, you definitely want to have puke face, but you looked pretty good afterwards. So it's probably something we're going to have to work on.
Yes.
Is the puke face. But unlike some of your other runs, like you weren't really hunched over or anything like that. You looked like you were great. And so how did you feel afterwards?
I felt great. It was surprisingly solid running for me and something that I never thought I'd be able to do before. But it was, I hate to say it like this, but it was almost easier than I thought it was going to be.
It was awesome. All right, let's show you guys some of the footage from the run.
We're in the middle of the warm-up. Today's run is the final run. Day 30. I've been calling them days, but really it's workout 30. Number 30. And it's my first 30-minute continuous run. See how it goes.
Picked up the pace a little bit, so we're doing the finishing kick. Okay, so another data point that I do want to talk about is heart rate. So heart rate is risk-based, which is not always as accurate, but one thing that we, Ricky's really into the data. Data is great. But one thing that we've noticed is that your morning runs are usually, your heart rate's a little bit higher, you work a little bit harder with your heart rate zones, and your evening runs during the week aren't. So what do you think is we've talked about what's kind of probably changing that?
We think it's hydration. Like I wake up a little more dehydrated. So for yesterday's run, I woke up a little earlier, started drinking some water before the run in an effort to kind of combat that.
Yeah. And your heart rate did get higher. It spiked a little bit, like kind of right in the middle of the run where you actually picked up your pace at the turnaround. And I think that was when you kind of realized you wanted to make up some time and you got excited because we were halfway through. Yeah. So you picked up the pace, your heart rate kind of jumped up, and you spent the rest of the run in that, but you were still talking great, like conversational, could speak in full sentences throughout the run. So it seemed like you still felt good even though your heart rate was a little bit higher.
Yeah, it felt good. I just think I got in my head a little bit. That got me really excited, knowing I was halfway done and feeling like I could certainly run another 15. I think it was just me being really excited to finish and knowing that I was going to be able to finish.
Yeah. So last week when we talked, I asked you how you were feeling about what was next and doing the base building guide. So now that you're done with the Intro to Running program, what are you thinking about moving on to this next phase where you won't have walk breaks, you'll be running one more day a week? Are you feeling confident, excited?
I'm excited because I know I can go out and legitimately like run, right? So without any walk breaks. I'm a little nervous because I think you're adding in another day of running. But the reality is my body can run for 30 minutes. I know that for a fact now. And so, I'm excited for the challenge.
So the base building guide should be ready in about 2 to 3 weeks. So if you guys want to be the first to know about it, make sure that you sign up for our newsletter. I will link that up in the description. And let us know you stop by in the comments. But we'll make sure that we track Ricky for the space building guide too, and we'll fill you guys in on how he's doing. And thanks for watching.